Today on Locked On Rockies, that should be the nail in the coffin. There should be no excuses. There should be no extensions. Every single member of this coaching staff should be on the hot seat.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 28th day of August in the year 2024. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can find all of the episodes, the video versions of all the episodes. You can join us. You can be part of the show. You can be part of the fun. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Every time you leave a 5-star review, every time you like the videos, every time you subscribe and share, you really help the show grow, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you all so much again for making us your first listen of the day. Today on Locked On Rockies, what else is there to talk about? The Rockies in their embarrassing, pitiful, blown lead, historically bad loss. We're going to have to talk about that, and it's going to get real ranty real fast, just to let you know. Before we do that, though, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. The Colorado Rockies have no excuse. None. I don't really want to hear about anything. I don't want to hear about elevated changeups. I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to hear about that. I want to know how it's possible that the Rockies can blow four-plus leads in the ninth and lose. I want to know why the manager cannot craft with this, even though it's a bad bullpen, leaving in pitchers for too long, throwing young guys to the wolves, overusing young guys, not building up depth in the offseason for this bullpen. It's laughable. Games and losses like last night are the reason why the Colorado Rockies are one of the laughing stocks of baseball. Bud Black does not deserve an extension. Plain and simple. He has not earned it at all this season. He has not developed these young pitchers. He has not had good managerial decisions late in the game. He has not grown his pitchers. He has not bounced back. He has lost time and time and time again, and he only has baseball-isms and blah, blah, blah bull as excuses. If you are the front office of the Colorado Rockies and you are accepting of how many times the Rockies have fallen flat on their face, embarrassed themselves on the way down, then you'll extend Bud Black and you will continue the status quo. You will continue to put out a product that blows late leads, that doesn't build up in its pitching, that doesn't invest in the advanced game, that doesn't look into any solutions, because remember, Dick Monfort has all the solutions already. He told us this at the beginning of the season. Nobody from the outside has any ideas that can come in and work. Remember, he told us that specifically. So I ask again, Dick Monfort, I'm asking you directly again. Explain last night to me, and not just in baseball or elevated changeup. So that is a 6-run lead blown to the second worst team in baseball twice now in the same season. You've had 9th inning meltdowns against the worst team in baseball. Statistically, across the board, especially on offense, the Marlins are the worst team in the National League. And instead, the Rockies can't get 3 outs without letting in 5 runs. It doesn't matter if you can say the coaching, you can say the talent, you can put in Tyler Kinley, buddy, hello. This is the Marlins, bro. And you are on a good stretch. You are the veteran presence of that bullpen. You are supposed to be the one that the Rockies can turn to. You have failed. And it's not just because you have failed. You have failed because your team has not put you in a position to succeed. I do not believe that the Colorado Rockies do enough to prepare their players. It is painfully obvious. The rest of the league, and that includes the Marlins, if the White Sox didn't exist, the rest of the league is more prepared to win. The rest of the league does more to win. The rest of the league is getting further and further and further ahead of the Colorado Rockies because the Colorado Rockies can't get out of their own way and their own undying loyalty to people that have provided mediocre to bad baseball for decades. Games like last night should not be rewarded, yet we sit here as Colorado Rockies fans wondering if that's the case. I would be making changes today. And it starts, Daryl Scott, see you, buddy. Bye-bye. I'm sorry. When you are the pitching coach and when you are a manager who is supposed to be a pitching focused manager and the pitching has been at an absolute disaster this year, and I understand, I know the rotation, I know who's in it, I know the players that are there, I know that baseball is streaky, but this is the team that the Rockies put together. This is the team that they said was going to bounce back from the 100-loss season. This is the team that's supposed to start the under construction phase. But if you're under construction and you got young arms, if you're Bud Black, you just use them until they get hurt like you do Victor Vodnik. And then when you have another one on a hot streak, you're going to throw him in there in a terrible situation in the ninth that he shouldn't have even ever been in the first place. There's no excuses here. There's no nothing here. What it is it's not just baseball. It's not just this. It's just bad. 5 walks from Cal Quantrill last night. 7 hits. That's ugly. You waste a career night from Ezequiel Tovar. You waste a night that every single person in the lineup gets a hit, some with multiple. And now you have to bounce back and answer for the rest of the series. Now you have to actually go out there and respond from this. Because that's going to be the true message. How do the Rockies come out tonight? There's just no world, no other team would reward what has happened to the Colorado Rockies this year. If there were contract extensions with anybody that isn't named Bam Bam, I'll give Bam Bam the pass. Because the offense is at least has been scoring runs. We've at least seen development there. You know what I haven't seen a lot of development of? The pitching staff. I haven't seen the pitching staff stay healthy. I haven't seen the pitching staff be able to get out of jams, especially the bullpen. I haven't seen the Rockies be aggressive on the waiver wire this season to pick up talent to add depth to that bullpen. And that's fine. You know, it'd be easier to embrace with this, with these situations and games like that. If the Rockies actually fully sat there 100% and told you that they were committing to the rebuild, but they're not. Remember, this is the Dick Monfort who says he's got all the answers. Let's get his. Let me let's bring it on up. I think this is a good time to see if I can find my screenshot here of Dick Monfort's quotes to start the season. Let's see if the screenshot that keeps on giving. Got to see if I can find it here, though. Hold on. Sorry. Scrolling. I didn't expect that I was going to go to these, to this lovely text message, but, you know, of course, you can't miss out on the fact of the matter of Dick Monfort's confidence. Dick Monfort's confidence in himself and Dick Monfort's confidence in his abilities, in his team. Let's see. Oh, I think we got it. All right. My biggest problem is I hate losing, and it is hard to debate anybody when you are losing, Monfort said. So the best way to quiet them down is to win, and win all the time. And that's what we need to do. I do feel like we're on the right track. Bringing in someone from the outside is the other side of it. And this is, by the way, Brad is talking about the GM search and stuff. This was the Denver post-season preview coming up. Bringing in someone from the outside is the other side of it, and I'm not saying it's totally wrong. But when former GM Jeff Bridich left, there were a lot of people from the outside who interviewed or had interest. They would tell me how to win at altitude, and everything they mentioned it would not have worked. Or it's all things we've tried, Monfort said. I think in any business, you have to have people you can trust, and I trust both of them. With Schmidt, it's his third year, and I think he has a good handle on it. I think he has a lot of talent to work with coming up. Take the combination of smart baseball people who work hard, who are trustworthy, loyal, and all want to win in Colorado. That's a damn good combination. Now, Bill Schmidt has been making some successful moves, but and we'll talk about this coming up in segment number 2 because we got to take a break. I just want to focus on having a good handle on it and building around and building up on something that you believe in, and the fact that nothing would have worked. So what is working, Dick? What is working right now for the Colorado Rockies? Tell me that. Explain it to me. I'll give you the break to think about it, and so you can get back to me to give you some more time. More ranting and raving coming up after the break. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. We're also brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. PrizePicks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Hits, walks, strikeouts, stuff like that, more or less. You set the lineup. You pick what you want. You decide what to go after. No one's going to take your waiver wire pickup. No one's going to take your sleeper pick there. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 because it's just you against the numbers. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast and on the Locked On Podcast Network. Hey, shout outs to our guy Sully. If you need more baseball talk, if you want news from around the league, Locked On MLB's got you covered there. And if you need your Rockies play-by-play action on the go or wherever you go this season, SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app has got you covered. So again, I'm asking here, what is working for the Colorado Rockies? And I want to know. I want to sit here and I want to know more from Momfort's quotes here with saying that that he says, I want to know again, if you know that none of the things that all of these people that we're going to bring to you would work at altitude, what are you doing to win at altitude? You didn't win at altitude last night. You actually are below 500 still at home right now at altitude. So you don't know the answers. And it's time to admit that. It's time for you, Dick Momfort, to admit that you do not know as much about the game as you lead on. And guess what? I don't know as much. You probably know more than me. You're in the front office. I understand that. But you sit here and when you say quotes like that to start the season, oh, we are above 500 team. Oh, we're this. Oh, we're that. We're on the right track. Blah, 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 blah. It's all lip service from the Colorado Rockies. All of it is and it tracks down to no one better than giving the lip service than the manager. Elevated curveball or changeups will do that to you. Yeah, not me leaving Tyler Kinley in way too long in a game and my history of overusing arms or leaving people in. Show some accountability. for seasons and games like this, there is no reason to reward any member of the Colorado Rockies coaching staff, with the exception of maybe Bam Bam, with extensions, with bonuses, with any of this. The Rockies, two pitching-focused coaches, main pitching-focused coaches in Bud Black and Darryl Scott, have failed. They have failed this year. They have failed to develop plans to keep their pitchers healthy. They have failed to develop plans to get out of ball games. They have failed to develop a bullpen. And help is on the way. Absolutely. And there is, and that is something that Bill Schmidt does need credit for. Yes, this farm system has improved. Yes, this farm system has gotten better and then moved up the ranks. But if the Rockies stay the status quo, if the Rockies continue to operate under the same mindset that they operate under now, if the Rockies continue to do the same things and the same mindsets and continue to put their blinders on to possible solutions and possible creative changes and possible creative fixes to this team, they will not develop properly. They will burn out. They will get injured. They will get abused by altitude. Whatever you want to say, I have no confidence in the current coaching staff of the Colorado Rockies to get the most out of the young player development. Look at the lineup last night. In that lineup, Jake Cave, Jacob Stallings, Sam Hilliard, all in the game. Charlie Blackmon also played. Brendan Rodgers, Ryan McMahon. When you were looking at young guys here in this lineup, two guys who needed to get consistent at-bats were getting at-bats last night. In Beck and Tolio. And yes, you got to give guys rest. Brenton Doyle obviously dealing with the injuries the soreness and stuff. Understandable. That is something to factor in there. Obviously, Brenton Doyle would be in that lineup. But where's Nolan Jones? And why is Nolan Jones up? And maybe it's the back. It could be. But it's just it all just builds up that the status quo, that this is how the Rockies operate, that this is where the Rockies are at, that the Rockies again this season make horrendous history. 4 games. Doesn't sound like a lot, but 4 games you blow 4-run leads in the 9th. It's never happened before. When it's never happened before, and it's bad things like trailing games consecutively to start a season, we're the highest amount of losses in team history. 4 games where you blow 4+ run leads in the 9th. How many more of those milestones do the Rockies need to hit until something changes? How many times do the Rockies have to be considered the laughingstock of baseball, or one of them, because luckily they're not the White Sox, before change happens? Before Dick Monfort realizes the way he is operating things isn't working. But as everyone does point out, as a business, the Rockies are fine. Still 20,000 people in the stands watching Rockies Marlins at the end of the summer. 2 teams that are completely out of it. See, actually, what was see if I can get the attendance real quick of last night's game. I know attendance is a little shaky, but you know. Man, I don't even want to read any of this. In this game, nothing's predictable, Colorado Rockies manager Bud Black said. Kinley adds, I feel like I threw a lot of good sliders down the zone last night, and they all swung at him tonight, and they laid off him. A couple of fastballs we went to, they just were on it. We don't know. Maybe I was giving those away. Maybe I was doing something. Have we heard about issues with the Rockies in pitch tipping this year? He's sitting there saying he might be thinking he's tipping pitches, and we had a pitcher that got traded that said he's been tipping pitches for a month and nobody said anything. Wake up, dugout. Wake up, Rockies. Wake up, Bud Black. Wake up, Darryl Scott. What are you doing? You can't be having a pitcher come out there and say that maybe he's tipping pitches when you already had a situation this season with a guy who said he was tipping pitches. But you remember, the Rockies don't need to dive into the analytics either. Gross. They're prepared. They're ready. They're on a good streak. They're in a good spot. Dick's got all the answers. Remember, he knows what doesn't work, and he knows what works. It's a joke, dude. Absolute joke. And at this stage in the lost season or whatever, firing Bud Black at this stage doesn't mean anything. But boy, howdy, can you cement the fact that this team is going to jeopardize the future if they just continue to double and triple down on this? Sorry, I know said I was going to try to find the attendance, but whatever. I didn't find it. Just a waste, man. Charlie Blackmon hits you start the game with back-to-back bombs. You piss it away. Oh, my God. A little bit of commentator's curse as well, and let's look to the finale, or not the finale. The Rockies end up losing this series, and even just splitting this series. What a profound disappointment. We'll wrap it up coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Liquid IV. When you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's popsicle firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. Baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. What does that mean? It's powered by Live Hydra Science, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. See, I don't have the firecracker one up because I like my lemon lime to get things started. This basically is like lemonade there for you, and also gives you all sorts of added hydration benefits, essential vitamins, clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. We are also brought to you by our friends at Gametime. Gametime has got you covered when you need last-minute tickets, and Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Right now, hey, maybe you're interested in checking out some NL West action. There's a 50% off Labor Day sale for Diamondbacks Dodgers going on that you can check out there on Gametime as well. Maybe you're in the area. Check it out and see. I love Gametime because not only are you getting great deals, but you're going to get a view from your seat so you know exactly where you're going to go. And when you toggle the all-in pricing feature on, there's a little button up top. You just click that. It's going to show you the entire price. Everything's included. You're going to know exactly what you're going to pay. Simple, easy, just a couple of clicks, and you are going to get tickets to your next event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's $20 off your first purchase when you use the Gametime app, and use the create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Terms do apply. And use that code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Find us on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Be part of the show. Let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies as we are venting through another terrible loss for the Colorado Rockies. I guess it's like, why are you so fired up? Why do you care so much? Is it that big of a deal? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, for me, I care. Rockies fans care. I mean, it's annoying. I mean, it's sports fandom, and it's situations in sports where it's one thing to lose, but it's one thing to be embarrassed countless times throughout the season. It's one thing to be on the wrong side of bad history. It's one thing to continue to operate under a status quo that just isn't working. And I feel bad. A little commentator's curse there of Angel, who comes in and unfortunately gives up the go-ahead run in that game last night. Young guys obviously get it, there's a little bit of a pass, but it's just like, it's just so frustrating. I mean, Tyler Kinley's got to get that job done, man. I mean, there's just nothing about, and now to see that he might think he's tipping pitches, dude. And I know that might have just been a throwaway line, but is it? Is it? Can we really sit there and think that that's just a throwaway line? Oh man, I'm just running out of steam on how to even land this plane. Of where to even go, of what type of. I mean, I know that it's one of many things down. It's one of many situations that you can be frustrated with this summer, but it's just like, this is why the Rockies have the reputation that they have. Games like this, performances like this, seasons like this. And unfortunately, it would be enough for other teams to change. It would be enough for things to be for other teams to make differences. But I don't see it happening. I don't see the Rockies being the next Royals, losing 106 games, and then the next season they're in first place in their division. I don't see the Rockies bouncing back like a phoenix with young, new, exciting talent. And it's not that I don't necessarily believe in the talent. It's, again, I don't believe in the team's ability to get the most out of the talent. I don't believe in the team's ability to put the players, especially young players, in a situation to succeed. I don't have confidence in that. The minors might be a good system. Bill Schmidt might be adding good players, but when they get to the major league level, my confidence and faith in this current staff to get the most out of these players and to get these players to where they need to be is very low. I'm not overly confident in the development of any player other than Brenton Doyle. Ezekiel Tovar as well. But the point is, this is the standard the Colorado Rockies have set. The Colorado Rockies have set a standard of losing. And until they change that standard, until they change their philosophies, until they change their minds, until they open their minds, until they start to think about things differently, until they start to approach the game differently, until they start to enact change to the organization, nights like last night will continue to be a standard for the Colorado Rockies. 49 wins at the end of August will continue to be the standard for the Colorado Rockies. Making bad history will continue to be the standard for the Colorado Rockies. It will not be playoffs. It will not be championships. It will not be division titles. It will not be winning baseball. It will be what we saw last night and what we've seen throughout this season. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Hopefully the Rockies bounce back, split the series at least with the Marlins, and get themselves back in a position to win the series. We'll see about that coming up here tonight. Let's see who the pitching matchups. I know Kyle Freeland's on the bump for the Rockies. Max Meyer going up for the Marlins. The guy hasn't it's pitched under 50 innings. He also gave up 11 home runs so far in those 46 innings, but isn't going to matter because the Rockies will probably just blow it in the end anyway. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. You can find us free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. You can also find us on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Locked On MLB is a good choice for your second listen of the day. If you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, and Locked On Buffs has got you covered as well. We'll be breaking down the Marlins series and more on the next episode of Locked On Rockies, so don't miss out on that. And until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.